Order, a little bit late, sorry. The other meeting I was in, we were in a little late. So we have two bills today. I think we've heard both of these before. Is that right, Representative Bonner?
No, 632.
Okay. Well, on House Bill 108, we're not going to take testimony because we have already heard this one. And so today we're just going to let you, I know you've got a substitute, and then we'll let you present the substitute, go over the substitute, and then we'll call the vote on that one, and then we'll move on to the House Bill 632. Just to let everybody know, right now on House Bill 108, it's LC 461539S. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
All right. Would you go ahead and present your bill?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, appreciate the opportunity to come back and offer this amendment. This amendment comes after talking with a number of members of the committee and getting some feedback on some ways to make this stronger. And so this substitute contains three provisions that are changes. The first you find on line 43, and what we did is to cap the amount that these companies can charge and limit them to a total of $12,500. That matches the Florida law that was passed. The second thing we did, which is found on line 64, and we increased the font size on the disclosure to 14. That just helped for that to stand out even further and be more prevalent in the contract. And then the last thing we did, which is found on line 91, we increased the fines to $10,000 per violation. This matches the same penalty under that code is if you commit a crime against someone 65 years or older. So $10,000 per violation, which is, I think it's a pretty stiff penalty. And so with the goal of punishing bad actors in this space and allowing good actors to operate, I think this strikes a good balance with that, with these provisions. Those are the changes, Mr. Chairman. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, members of the committee? Senator Steele.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman Bonner, thank you. So real life scenario here. My admin here at the Capitol is a Marine, served for 8 years. And I'm speaking of this with his permission, to be clear. He had some rough tours. He came back with a degree of PTSD. He worked through a couple different VA hospitals, didn't feel like they understood his condition. Went to his local VSO. They weren't able to help get him any more coverage than what he needed. And this is before he started working here at the Capitol about 1.5 years ago. He engaged the services of an attorney who is charging him in their contract all of the gain from the time that he started working for him until the date that they achieve any sort of a higher result, with no cap, with no anything, would be well in excess of $25,000 that he would owe at the time of collection and receipt of that back pay. I feel like he did all the things that we would want one of our veterans to do. He went through all the channels, jumped through all the hoops, hired an attorney who's not anyone that's anything other than an attorney that he found online. But there are no guardrails to prevent somebody from doing that. Can you walk me through the scenario of how this bill would have prevented Will from being in this very upside-down contract, and what guardrails this puts in place to prevent someone like him in the future from falling into this private lawyer trap that's floating around out there?
So I do believe that this bill does establish those guardrails, and specifically in those areas I just mentioned regarding the fees. I mean, this is just fees on award of the gain. This doesn't in any way impact somebody's back pay. This is just the increase on the gain. Whereas, as you rightly point out, these attorneys that work on appeals, they can get anywhere from 20 to 33.3% of the, not just the gain, but all of the back pay as well, with no limit. And so this bill, had it been in place, it would protect in that way, that cap that fee at 12.5 and require a written contract that spelled out all the provisions and only was awarded in the event that he actually was what received that award, and would not touch his back pay. So in that circumstance, like many others, this would have protected that Marine.
And if this bill does not pass, either through this committee or through the Senate, will those predatory practices continue unregulated, unchecked?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. And that's the state of affairs today, is that there are no guardrails whatsoever. There's nothing to prevent bad actors from operating in the space and taking advantage of veterans. So.
Thank you.
What number are you? Okay.
Good afternoon, Rep. Bonner. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
So just to be clear, you and I have had several conversations over this bill for the last year or so, correct?
Yes.
And real life scenario, I went through the same scenario, but it's true that the VFW and other organizations, also the Veterans Affairs, offer these services for free, correct?
That is correct, and in fact, we actually point the individual to that in the required contract. That disclosure essentially says you can get this very same service for free, and here's where you can go to get those.
Okay.
And I would say a lot of people, as you well know, a lot of veterans take advantage of that service, and a lot of them have success in that. Some don't, and this simply gives those veterans some freedom of choice in that.
And absolutely, and that's why I had instant conversation, due to the fact that throughout my time, trying to receive my claim, it took me up to a year to receive it. But that's why, the VA tried to introduce the PACT Act to try to come back and compensate and reevaluate some of the methods and of how they implemented the strategy of trying to get the service member the benefits that they require. So, but I do understand throughout our conversation of how there are organizations that do try to take advantage of service members and their family. And that was the reason why we came to some agreement in reference to capping it out. But in reference to, I guess, the accreditation part is an issue that the VFW and some other organizations do have. But at least you've met, we try to meet the rubber where the road is. And so I guess that the biggest hurdle is the unaccreditation part. And that's not federally conducive with the federal funding. But still yet, moving forward, to try to implement something, because there are a lot of bad actors out there.
Yeah, absolutely, Senator. I appreciate you bringing that up. I will say, I do anticipate at some point that there would be substantive changes to the accreditation process that would allow at some point entities that would make it more enticing for individuals and companies to be accredited. But right now that just doesn't exist under the current system, and there's a lot of debate as to the relationship that accreditation causes, that a lot of these companies that operate don't believe they fall under that category in terms of becoming an agent of that individual. And so, but I will tell you, and I will have committed to you and will commit to every member of the committee, we'll continue to work this issue with our federal partners to make sure that our veterans are protected in every way possible.
One last thing, Mr. Chairman. So I understand that Louisiana and some other states have implemented stricter violations. So just the way forward, what do we have implemented just in case Louisiana comes, or a situation where something like Louisiana happens and the federal government comes back and overturns what has already been implemented?
So my understanding of the Louisiana laws, it had a little bit different language. Our language more closely matches what is found in Tennessee and Florida. Tennessee, the only difference between us and Tennessee is that Tennessee doesn't cap. They think they just have a 5 times multiple, whereas Florida does have the cap. But their fee is their penalties are also very much in this neighborhood. They actually, Florida has actually a great law. They have a bit of an enhancement on a penalty if you basically commit a crime against a veteran. So there's a bit of a kicker there that I would love for us to explore as well. But the fines are very much in keeping with some of these other very veteran-friendly states. I feel good about being in the same company as Tennessee and Florida when it comes to veterans issues. They're well ahead of us in a number of areas, and I think this will help us to catch up.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
My Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chairman, I'd just like to thank you for bringing this very important issue before us. I certainly appreciate it. And I want to explain my position very carefully. As you know, over the years, I've been staunchly against anything like this. I mean, just absolutely total, it's zero. No, don't do it. Because you have very excellent VFW representative, DAV, which I'm a member of all of those things, life members, and was persuaded to stay in that vein of thought. However, they are outliers in this position a lot of time. These folks have gone. I've had people come to me, and we went around the state, and they were telling us that we can't get. I can't get my benefits. But as soon as they went to this particular tactic, they got results. And I'm just telling you, they told us this over and over again. I maybe 10 or 15 people at one time. So myself and another chairman on your side of the aisle, we listened with almost disbelief that, and I guess it may be in the context of the person who are providing the free service do excellent work, but they're probably inundated. They got so many people that they're trying to help, and they help them. And I want to commend them because, like I said, I'm a life member of all of them, and they've helped me. So, but in the context of some outlier person who maybe lost his records, it's just whatever the case may be, they can't get it or can't prove it or something like that, and they get it. They get it when they, pursue this particular vein of action.
Right.
So that's what sort of pushed me over in that direction. And even now, I still got some consternation. It's just really seems a little odd, just that we have to do this in order to get those veterans who've been left out over in this posture in order to get some relief of their benefits that they served their country for, that they fought for, that they went to far places to serve our country. They having to do this. So reluctantly, I want to be clear about that. I support this, and prayerfully someday we can get to a point where we can go back to our former posture where everybody's getting the benefits they deserve and in a timely way, so they won't be in a handcuff, a desperate position to get their benefits that they've tried over and over again. I think it's just wrong. So
Yes,
that's my reasoning for this.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Senator Kirkpatrick, what number are you?
10. Yeah, so we had Doug Collins here a couple weeks ago, and he gave some impressive numbers about the progress that's been made on getting veterans their disability, not only from a numbers standpoint of people, but the time that it's taking is down from 137 days to 77 days, and he wants to get it to 0. And I have confidence that he's going to be able to do that over the next 2 years. That was, I think, the motivation for this bill is frustration from people that were trying to get their claims taken care of through the normal channels, through the Department of Veteran Services or the American Legion or whatever, and were not able to do it, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the biggest issue. So I'm a little confused because I guess the Louisiana law was thrown out based on constitutionality, and now Florida and Tennessee are also being, the same lawyers going after them. So I'm just concerned about creating a legal issue, and I think it boils down, you fixed a lot of the things from the first version of the bill, but I think the accreditation issue is still hanging out there, and I've heard from a lot of people in my district, particularly the American Legion, the Warrior Alliance, people that I work with on a regular basis on veterans issues who are opposed to this bill. And so I can't support it, but I appreciate you making the changes that you made. Thank you.
Anybody? Senator Sessler.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, to the sponsor, thank you. I think hearken back to, or I think about other settings in which we seek to take care of our veterans. We've invested in a veterans health system. Proud of some of the steps we've made. It's had its ups and downs over the years and has been underinvested in from a healthcare perspective. And I'm proud that in recent years there's been a reinvestment in our healthcare system for veterans. But just because we are committed to veterans hospitals, clinics, and healthcare system doesn't mean that we shouldn't also give veterans choice and other choice options. I know there's been discussions about how we expand choice options outside of the delivery system of our veterans medical system so that veterans can have options in their community from private providers. I view this in a very similar way. I'm thankful for our nonprofits that do this work. I think they do yeoman's work, and I salute them for that. It's truly service when they're doing it kind of on their own in a either non-compensated or undercompensated way. But by analogy, just because those exist and those exist to serve veterans, it doesn't mean if a veteran believes that a private sector delivery system like this can serve them better, we should block them from this. I think this gives people an alternative. If they see it is in their best interest to be able to pursue this private sector alternative, why would we block veterans from being able to do that? So I sort of see these two sort of as an analogy, and I appreciate your bill. I have tried to listen to both sides, and I don't want my support for this to in any way undermine the yeoman's work that's being done by nonprofits and to try and support veterans. I think that's a misreading of this. But just as we try to support people and give veterans options, private sector options in a healthcare setting, I think likewise we need to give them the opportunity. Why would we block them from something like this if we've put the guardrails in as you've very carefully put in place? And I salute you for it. And I think it's, again, if we're veteran-centric, if we're not system-centric, if we're not focused on nonprofits, we're not focused on any organizations, and we're not focused on state agencies that do similar things. If our focus is not on them, but our focus is on what's best for the veteran. We have veterans asking us for this service, and if we stay veteran-centric, we're going to give them the opportunity that House Bill 108 gives them. So I thank you for that.
Absolutely, thank you.
Number 11?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Senator Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Bonner, thank you so much for kind of working on this. I know we've spoken offline on this several different times, kind of worked through the different processes on it. I kind of echo my suite mates, the Dean of the Senate over there, thoughts on this. It was, I always used to think that, and I think about my dad from that standpoint. He was a veteran of the Vietnam War and kind of worked through that process, never went to the VFW, didn't ever go to the American Legion. So he never got his benefits for close to 35 or 40 years. And so, if there would have been a service like this, maybe he would have, maybe kind of worked through that process. So I'm trying to gauge a little bit of, I see both sides of it, I really do. And so my question to you is, there's been a lot of conversation in regards to the accreditation. And because what we're hearing is in some aspects you have to have accreditation, in some aspects you don't have to have accreditation. Can you give us just maybe a 2 or 3 minute summary of the difference of why why some organizations have to be accredited and others do not?
Well, the accreditation, just in this, my opinion, is a bit of an outdated kind of methodology, but that accreditation piece creates agency, right? So if you become an accredited individual, you actually have access to the VA system, so you can hand jam somebody's case in. You become an agent. What the companies that represent this view and the guardrails we're putting in place for are not the companies that become agents. They are simply consulting veterans on how to best assemble their packet, get it dress right dress, so that it has a better chance of getting a first-time approval than a packet going through otherwise. They, get it in the proper verbiage, make sure that you tick all the right boxes, all your I's are dotted, T's are crossed, all that type of thing. That is not an agency relationship. It's a consultant, essentially, relationship. Right. So their view is that they don't require and don't fall into the category that requires accreditation. I will also say, just in a much broader sense, and is a bit to Senator Kirkpatrick's point, is, unfortunately with these benefits, these are federal benefits, and while we can't directly impact the federal government, what we can do at the state level is to provide the proper guardrails to protect our veterans that reside in Georgia. And so that's all this seeks to do. We'll continue to work with the federal government and as best we can, and I have great expectations for Secretary Collins and what he's doing. But again, I'm often just reminded of that phrase, I'm from the government, I'm here to help, right? And the fact that it takes so long with our federal government to make change, that I think I'd love to see a day where these companies go out of business because there's no business to be had. And I think that's what I would like to work towards in the future. So.
Any other questions in the committee? All right.
I've got one follow-up, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind.
Yes.
So I know there's been a lot of talk with this maybe potentially creating an environment for, say, claim sharks in that general area. And I know that you've increased the penalty here up to $10,000 per violation. How concerned are you of that? I mean, I'm sure that we probably currently have some now, but then does this potentially open the floodgates to those type of situations, to really kind of our veterans being preyed upon for the potential claims?
Well, so to be clear, right now there are no protections, right? There are no penalties. I mean, certainly you could probably pursue somebody in magistrate or other type of court, but there are no guardrails. There is nothing defined in statute that regulates this industry, and so what we will be creating is that penalty. And I think the $10,000 per violation is a pretty stiff deterrent. It certainly was enough of a deterrent that the legislature determined that if you commit a crime against someone 65 years or older, that would be a deterrent. And so we're simply matching that. And so I think that what we're doing is actually protecting veterans in a space where there is currently no protection.
Senator Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you know, there are percentages to and ratings when it comes to benefits. When a veteran comes for, I guess this is a consultation because the services, I'll say services, once they get a rating of 10%, then they go back for 20 or go back and they get 30. What does this agency each time get some type of compensation, or what happens?
Well, so that, and I go back to the contractual nature of the bill, starting, I think it's on line 38. So they actually enter into a contract, an agreement, and they get compensated based on fulfilling the terms of that agreement. So if they fulfill that agreement is over and done with. If they want to come back later on and enter into another agreement or use a different company and enter into a different agreement, then that's a completely separate, right? But they're only getting charged on the gain each time. So it is, but typically these gains are fairly incremental, right? It's rare for someone to go from 0 to 100%, right? Right, but everything is based on that agreement, and again, the contingency fee, but as long as the terms of that agreement are fulfilled, it doesn't preclude you from entering into another agreement down the road.
Okay, so I go from 10 to 30.
Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the follow-up.
Go ahead.
So I go from 10 to 30. So I get 10%, you get your cut there. I go to 30%. You don't get 30, it was only a 20% increment.
Yes, the increment's 20.
Oh, I know I'm right, I'm just trying to make it clear. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes.
I'm just saying, is that what you're saying? You saying you're only gonna get from the 20% and not the 30? That's what you're saying?
I'm saying you're gonna enter into a contract,
Uh-huh.
and whatever that contract says on the gain, that's what you're gonna get. And once that threshold is met, the contract's over.
Right, but you're not asking for a 30%, you're not asking for a payment from the 30%.
No,
You can-
you're only for whatever the gain is.
Okay, that's what I'm just being
Yes,
clear about.
yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
correct.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, so I mean, so you're not gonna enter a contract that says, I guarantee you 30%.
No.
Yeah, right.
The contract says that my rating, I have another illness, or I have an illness or another claim for something, and it takes me from 10% to 30%. So you only can gain off of the 20%, not the 30% if I get rated.
Right.
At 30, okay. I'm just being clear.
All right.
Legislative council, is that what that says?
All right, any other questions?
That's what I'm verify.
As I said, we've already had public input on this, so I'm not going to entertain public input today. So
Oh, you're not?
we've done this bill multiple times in the House and Senate, so
They may have new testimony.
we've got 25 minutes and another bill too.
Oh, Lord. You want to testify? 2 minutes, 3 minutes. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Come on, Mr. Chairman.
Do what?
2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll give each one 2 minutes each.
Talk fast. Come, and you can go there and stand fast.
And we'll start with Dwayne Kilborn.
Mr. Chairman, where would we like me at?
Just the podium would be fine.
Podium.
You gotta stay direct.
Thank you for that.
I got it. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, appreciate your time, and I'll keep it brief. You're correct. We have had public comment before. My name is Dwayne Kilborn. I'm the Chief of Staff, VFW, and also on other members of other organizations. Individuals can be accredited. There's a form right here, 4 pages. I fill it out, take a test, I'm accredited, and I can be hired by any company. We are for choice. However, accreditation is federally required. The Supremacy Clause, that's why I got overturned, not anything else. The federal law, 38 CFR 14.629, the second section doesn't talk about organizations, it's the individual. Other industries do that too. I applaud the committee and Chairman Bonner for adding penalties in here, but Tennessee and Florida will most likely be overturned because it goes against federal law. So let's stand with veterans, give them choice, and please, look at the data. I have the whole hearing here as well. Just add the accreditation, and we take care of veterans. We give them all the choice they want, and we'll take care of business. I yield to any questions of the committee.
Seeing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative, I'll let you go forward first, since you're.
Ladies first.
Okay, we'll go in that order. Ms. Stevens,
It's Dr. Stevens, thank you.
I'm sorry, I couldn't make, I got the first name.
Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Stevens. I'm the founder of Georgia Military Women, sometimes known as the godmother of all military women in Georgia. My organization has almost 6,000 women veterans, and I talk to them every single day. The issue of claim sharks is something that is very real. These consultants, they are in it for the money. You may call them a nonprofit, but they are in it for the money. And constantly, they work with people that they are not actually helping you file it. As you said, they're helping you maybe gather something. And sometimes they're going to refer you to an agency that might help you get a medical opinion. It still falls on the veteran to submit the things. And constantly, I talk about women who are filing for themselves or filing for someone else that have run into rough times trying to get that all together, having it take a long time to get it together so that they're still waiting for their benefits. And sometimes it almost seems like they're delaying the process so that the companies can make more money. This is why I am happy to see that there would be some guardrails on how much money they could actually make. One of the things to consider is that when the Department of Veteran Services or any of the VSO organizations help a veteran, it's because they're family. We are sister and brother veterans. I'm a Navy veteran myself. Is that it makes a difference to have somebody who really cares about you and also will refer you to many other benefits that you need to have. It's not just about getting disability. It's about making sure that their health care is taken care of, make sure that they're getting their education benefits, so many things, mental health, all of those types of things. And so that's why I think that although this does offer guardrails, some other things have been brought up as well, but that's how come I urge you to vote no for this bill. Thank you. I yield to any questions.
Thank you, Chairman. Ma'am, respectfully, there's no part of this bill that prohibits anybody from still working with their local VFW or the VA to do these things. This just puts guardrails on an alternative source to find someone to help consult on this. Can you point to anywhere in the bill that
No,
says that it prohibits them from doing
sir,
that?
it does not set something against that, but what happens is that they end up working with that organization rather than reaching out to the VSOs and spending time with other assets that would provide them more comprehensive services. It all becomes about working towards the disability. Being a veteran and transitioning successfully from military to civilian life is much more than just getting compensation. It's also about the rest of your life.
I don't think anybody would disagree that we would want to encourage veterans either immediately out of service or decades down the road from seeking out their VFW, but wouldn't we want guardrails on those third-party services that are out there? Because without this bill, the example I gave of my admin right outside this door is my office, and my admin sits right there, and he has been significantly taken advantage of by a predatory attorney on this, but he's in a legal contract with him. This bill would prevent that. So you would want to deny him that opportunity to do that?
I don't think it's a good bill the way it's written. And
What would you change about it?
I would really prefer not anyone to have to pay to get their benefits.
Fair enough.
Sir?
You characterized, is it fair to say you said they're in it for the money?
They're not they may call themselves nonprofits. I don't have the exact numbers. I know my good friends with VFW know how much money that they've actually made. This is big business.
I understand, but they're in it for the money. The people who built my home,
Yes, sir.
the contractor that built my home, is a for-profit business. They furnished a home for my family that we've raised our kids in and lived in for 25 years, be 25 years next month. To characterize home builders as in it for the money and therefore they're unsavory, it casts sort of a shadow on what they do, it's just false. I mean, these people are private sector entity, they're private sector entities, just like a home builder is, and they provide service to veterans. To couch that as in it for the money, therefore colored and somehow less honorable is just, I just think it's disingenuous and false. And it doesn't bother me that they do it for a living. The worker's worth their wages. A home builder that builds homes, a person that gets benefits for veterans, gets benefits for veterans. I'm just concerned you colored it so clearly because they're not doing it as a volunteer.
Well, realistically, Senator, I think you're comparing apples and oranges. If my home builder makes a profit on building my home, and my brother runs a construction company, that's fine. But when you work with people who care about you, you become part of the family. It's not just, and we all know builders that once they leave and all the problems that happen afterwards. So I think it's better to be with the VSOs and with the Department of Georgia.
for Humanity builds homes. We celebrate them for it. It's a volunteer thing. They do great work. We celebrate it.
Absolutely.
Good
Yes,
for
sir.
them. But it doesn't mean that people who do it for a living are somehow less honorable. That's all.
No, I didn't say that. Thank you, sir.
Number 3. Thank you for coming to give your testimony. So, just to go back and just lay the foundation, these unaccredited organizations are only the middle person, correct? They're the administrative person, and they just file the paperwork. At the end of the day, the service member has to take the paperwork back to the VSO and the Veterans Affairs to actually have it start the process, correct?
Well, it's kind of complicated because they can't just take it to a regular VSO because there's a power of attorney that's involved with the claim sharks. Is that
No,
they've
no, no,
already got
no,
that
I'm talking about the
relationship.
service member. Once,
The service member is the one that has to file.
Correct.
Because they are not accredited, so somebody else has to file. And this is part of what creates that barrier, because they're already working with this one entity. To bring that to someone else means if it's a VSO and they start, they're gonna have to go all the way back through it to make sure that it meets our requirements and that fidelity that we're expecting. Plus, we're gonna be offering all of those other services that these outside agencies will not.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Wayne Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Wayne Collins. I'm the state legislative chair for the Veteran of Foreign Wars, and I'm not going to labor this. We've had multiple discussions on this, but there seems to be some confusion when it comes to accreditation. It was stated last year and in recent meetings that the VA secretary was not in favor of accreditation. We found that not to be true. In fact, we were in D.C. at the legislative conference this couple of weeks ago, and he specifically stated that he was pro-accreditation. It's also, I think Senator Kirkpatrick spoke about the timeliness of getting these claims resolved in a timely manner. The VA secretary is doing an excellent job. He has it down to about 70 days. I think we're still in that old Vietnam era concept where it was taking veterans 4 or 5 years to get their claims resolved. That's no longer the case. We feel that if we do not put these accreditations in place, it would afford those organizations or individuals to take advantage of our most vulnerable veterans. That's what we have to focus on, because our most vulnerable veterans, in most cases, they're destitute and they're in need of immediate financial relief. And that's what we're trying to prevent, and we hope that you'll support us in this endeavor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. All right. Representative Jackson, I'm sorry. Saw you sitting back there, I didn't mean to call you.
Well, you know, listen, I'm always going to yield to women going first. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. State Representative Derek Jackson. You all know I served 22 years in the United States Navy. Much has already been stated, but I just want to put an exclamation mark. Not much I agree with Senator Collins, but this I do. He said they're working on it. And you already heard the stats. They're down to 70. This is an opportunity for this august body to assist our state agency at the Veterans Affairs, where we can add more resources and staffing. We can become the middleman for our service members, especially those who are E5s and E6, the most vulnerable that gets caught up in predatory lending. Yes, it sounds like we're going in the right direction, but even $12,000 is too much. Much of you all know that my first wife, her and I both retired Navy commanders, but when she had to go through this process, because she had a cesarean, hers amount was $4,000 a month. $4,000 a month. So even if that was 5X, that would have been $20,000. Yes, 2 O5s could afford it, but that doesn't equate the same for E5 and E6. So $12,000 is still too much. If we're going to be pro-military in Georgia, let us be pro-military. Let's add these guardrails without the added expense. if we're going to go after predatory lending. This august body, we have done that before with used cars and Title Max and all these other things that typically go after military service members. We can go after them with a strong bill to let them know, lawyers or anyone else that's going to do business with military, that they will have hell to pay. And then last but not least, Mr. Chairman, no middleman or middle person should not get not one penny to check I's, make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed when we got ChatGPT.
All right. Now I will go ahead and call it. What is the will of the committee?
Move to pass, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion to pass.
Second.
I have a second.
I have an amendment, Mr. Chairman.
You have an amendment? All right.
The proposed amendment, in keeping with the testimony we've heard about accreditation and the preference of Secretary Collins with regard to accreditation, I would add, you're supporting Secretary? Oh, Secretary?
No, the statement.
Okay, okay, just a second. All you want. I mean, we have on the record the VA Secretary saying that he would prefer organizations be accredited. I think the committee should have the opportunity to vote on that. Line 79, I would add the words, after the word shall, be accredited. So the amendment is be accredited by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs for that purpose, and. So I'll say the amendment one more time. After the word shall on line 79, be accredited by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs for that purpose, and then that would preserve the syntax of the rest of subsection I. And respectfully, Mr. Chairman, that's the amendment that I propose.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the. All right, first we got to vote on the underlying bill and then we'll.
No, sir.
vote on the
Respectfully,
amendment. I'm
vote on
sorry.
the amendment first. That's right.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the amendment.
I have questions.
What's your question?
Mr. Chairman, this isn't a, with all respect, I would ask the chair, I don't perceive this to be a in-stride amendment that we can just take up. This, to me, I want to understand the thrust of this. I need to understand the scope. This is not a thing I really understand. I'd like to ask the author. I mean, and I don't begrudge the question. It's a fair question, but we need to understand this has potential to swallow the bill. So could we hear the author speak on this, Mr. Chairman? Because
At this point,
Discussion on the committee, no.
he's not on the committee. I think we just
No,
need to keep
we need
moving
to vote on
forward.
it.
I'll speak to it.
He made a motion?
Right.
Now we're discussing the amendment.
Did you get first?
Okay, right now we got discussion on the amendment.
I did. Thank you.
Sir Steele.
Through the study committee that many of us were on about this, the conversation of accreditation came up frequently. And through testimony today, through last year, there's two types of people who are advocates on this matter. Those who are VSOs that do this on a voluntary basis, and those that do it to help work in a consultative role. This bill is to put guardrails on consultants, not those that are directly filing the bill. The amendment, while well-intentioned, would, number one, kill the work that these companies do. It would. It guts the bill, number one. Number two, while we want to celebrate what Secretary Collins is doing and that the number has dropped, that number will go up again one day. It will go down again one day. And we will go, and we cannot sit here and celebrate that, we went from 139 days down to a couple of weeks. They're clearing the docket, but clearing the docket on claims does not mean that veterans are still getting the benefit level that they want. The consultants that do this work are some of the absolute top people in the country. They're veterans themselves, for the most part, that work and do this as an advocate. And as Chairman Setzler said, if they do this and they want to charge then they are limited. But what I know after case after case after case is that a no vote on this underlying bill takes away the guardrails and lets people like Will Spencer, my admin, right down the hall, and thousands others like him who don't get the work that they need, the justice they need, the quality of package that they need from a VSO, try as they might, they may not be able to get it just right. But for people who do this professionally, we are capping their fees, we've put penalties in place, and if we don't vote this bill the way it is, then predatory practices will continue. If we put Senator McLaurin's amendment on here, it will kill the underlying bill, and we're going to go another year of predatory practices and another year of this not being done right. So I encourage y'all to please respectfully reject the amendment as described.
Mr. Chair, I have one last thing. We've heard that other states have, the bill has been overturned because there were not this policy wasn't in place. So that will, this, not having the amendment will gut the bill eventually, whether it takes a year or two.
Well, the state that you're referencing in Louisiana, that suit was brought by, the plaintiff was an attorney named John B. Wells, a retired naval officer turned lawyer who represents military veterans trying to obtain benefits.
Okay.
He sued the bill because it cut into his ability to make a living. So we have to look at who the plaintiff is when these cases happen.
All right. Accreditation is needed, so we need to vote, Mr. Chair, so we can get out of here.
All right, I'm going to call the question on the amendment. For those who are in favor of the amendment, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4. I can count.
I'm helping you out, passing the 6 to 4.
Okay, so the amendment passes. So now we have an amended bill.
Mr. Chairman, do you have any more committee meetings scheduled? Do you have any more committee meetings scheduled?
No.
So I'd like to table this thing so we can, the things that are down there.
All right. Now the bill as amended, committee substitute. All those in favor, raise your hand.
With the necessary changes?
Yes,
Yeah, we already voted.
as a committee substitute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
keep
6,
it alive.
7, 8.
Keep it alive.
All those opposed? 1.
Keep it alive.
All right, your bill passes as amended. Now, quickly, if you could run through,
Keep it alive.
632.
Yes.
And I mean, hey, quickly.
You mean quickly, okay. All right, thank you. House Bill 632 simply clarifies an existing benefit. Currently, disabled veterans are exempt from certain occupational taxes, administrative regulatory fees associated with conducting a business. The ambiguity, however, in the current code has caused different interpretations across the state, resulting in some veterans missing out on this benefit. The bill more clearly defines periods of war or armed conflict and will make it easier for eligibility to be determined and exemptions processed more efficiently. That's really the substance of the bill, Mr. Chairman, and we're happy to answer any questions. I've got Commissioner Patricia Ross here with the Department of Veteran Services to speak to any specifics of the bill.
Well, since she is there, why don't you go ahead and speak to the specifics of the bill?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Chairman Bonner was exactly right. This does make it easier for our veterans to get that occupational tax exemption. The big change is on line 30 to line 35. There was confusion when going to our probate court judges to get this occupational tax waived because it said that you could only get it waived if you paid state income tax. That was never the intent of the bill. The intent of the bill is that occupational tax exemption. So to Chairman Bonner's point, we actually referred back to U.S. Code for definition of a veteran as well as wartime. And so that is the big change, as well as defining the process, which is coming through our department after that probate court judge to get us to sign a form to then get it filed with their tax commissioner. Because it was a confusing process, and different judges were interpreting this law differently, which is why we asked for the clarification. So it is agency-sponsored legislation.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the committee?
Motion appropriate.
Second.
Think it's the most appropriate time.
Move to pass.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? It passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And having no other business before this committee, we will call this committee adjourned. And before I adjourn, I just want to say thank you for the work on this committee. This is our last committee before the session ends for the last 2 years. It's been a joy to work with y'all, each of y'all. And I've loved this committee because I brag on this committee because we're passionate, but the focus is always there.
Yep, that's right, that's right.
It's not on us, it's there where it needs to be. And so I appreciate that going forward. Thank you, and we are adjourned.